You're watching Experience Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit comicshoplocator.com to find a store near you.
Hey, I'm Joe Pruitt. I'm the publisher and /CEO of Aftershock Comics, and you're watching The Experience.
Hey, here we are. It's got to be Monday.
It's got to be Monday. We got Robbie.
We got our buddy Rockin, Robbie. We got John here with some new offshoot brand of Coke again. I don't know where he finds this stuff. It's not the local convenience store.
There's a store down in Myrtle Beach when I was down there, and they had all these great versions of like Kit Kat and Pepsi or whatever, and Sprite from places like Korea, Hong Kong, Japan.
You know what? Disney did it for a while. In Epcot, they had their like sodas around the country. Yeah, the Cokes around the country.
Very cool.
So that was kind of cool. But you had a bunch of kids, all sugared up on Coke, running around, putting their grubby fingers
like
on
Talladega Nights.
On the fountain dispenser. I was like, my daughter and I were there for about 10 minutes. I tried a bunch of different Cokes from different countries. I'm like, man, there are too many of these little kids touching stuff. I don't want to get any germs. Let's get out of here. Let's get on a ride.
Almost nobody I know likes honeydew melon, right? Everybody loves mango and all these other flavors. Almost nobody I know is like, ooh, honeydew melon. I found a honeydew melon Sprite that they make in Korea. And I turned to my wife and I'm like, we have got to move because they have it at like fountain sodas in like Korean.
It might be cheaper just to import some to your house. I'm just saying. So Marcus,
it is $36 for a 6-pack.
Oh, you got the money. You're retired. Got
Josh, Stevie B.
Josh went. Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining us today. So one of the things we want to discuss tonight is obviously the topic we had from Robbie's show on Friday.
Star Trek. They killed us on Star Trek last week, man. I never saw so many middle finger emojis.
What Star Trek are you talking about?
See, you would have loved the show, okay? AR was on. We did it on Wednesday. It was in celebration of the release of the 4D, the
Star Trek the motion picture, and
and so we kind of had a Star Trek themed night. So I mean, Alec got nothing. I mean, it was nothing.
We did not plan that very well. Although we had Mariano here. I mean, when you have somebody that's worked on one of the shows, that's pretty cool.
You should have had me for the Star Trek show, guys.
That's what I was saying. Yes, we came to that realization about midway through.
I think we do another one sometime. We'll have to plan that out in advance
and give Ron a lot of advance.
We just send
Ron was not happy.
We do it again, Ron. We'll just send you a book, man. Don't
even for free.
Take the book, but it's on us.
Ron checked out midway through the show, which I've never seen Ron do.
I'd love to.
Like, I gotta go hang out with my wife. I've never seen Ron say that.
I know, right?
I'd love to tell everybody why I love the motion picture so much. A lot of people hate that film, but I think it's the best Star Trek movie we've ever gotten. That's just me personally, though. But
I actually enjoyed the movie. It was very cerebral, but so here we go. The chat boards are going wild. Dwayne Zapane says that Alec did not know what a tribble was. Marcus had proposed that we give AR a quiz at the end of the show.
Oh, yeah, we were going to give him a quiz. I was like, no, this It spiraled down. Hello, Vladimir, JD. It just spiraled downwards. So this week we're going to try to get out a bunch of comics, and I think everything's $1, right? Or did I get that wrong?
Okay, John Cole.
Part of that is wrong.
You just said that. I didn't say anything to that effect. JD Berry in the house. Vladimir, Damian Knight. Hey, what's going on? Thanks for joining us, man.
You know what we do have for $1, though? A bunch of Dynamite 10-pack stuff.
What? That's $5.
Yeah, but like if you break it down, 2 of the books are $1, right?
Why
2 for $1. Give it away.
You're really trying to kill
John,
the show,
this isn't the Dollar General.
Dwayne's already claimed everything for $1. Okay, so here's the lesson to Dwayne. You know, Kyle didn't have a chance to put the graphic up, but we were only offering John for $1.
I know, right?
So you win John for $1.
Nice.
Shipping's going to be $1 gajillion.
No, I'll cover my own shipping. He's just going to get ripped off on the $1, man. You're paying way too much. Just ask my wife.
You know what? The Shatner signed poster. Yes, that went to Lars Man, I believe.
Oh, that's dope.
So, yeah, but it was damaged. It had some crinkles in it and stuff. But I'm sorry. You know what? We actually, and to give you an idea, we had Mariano Nicieza on, and he was the writer on DS9, right? So he came on. We had some of his stuff, which I'll actually send you a list if you're interested in any of it, Robbie. So we had him on as kind of a guest, and we were talking about the stuff, and it was just so funny. Alec had nothing. He openly admitted he was not a fan, did not watch the shows, did not read the comics. He just nothing. He knew nothing. Didn't know what a tribble was.
Yeah, but you know, though, people can always email you. I mean, we're probably not doing another Star Trek show, but if there was something up there that maybe you didn't get to or you wanted to see or something, email Rex. I mean, you know, if
a lot of that stuff, right? But a lot of that stuff was Mariano Nicieza's personal stuff, so that we kind of combined the two. Obviously,
I meant the books. I didn't.
The books. Yeah,
but
I was hoping that we be able to bring Mariano on at a later date. And since Robbie missed the Star Trek show, we'll do it for.
John been CGC graded. They can't find like a plastic holder big enough to.
Yeah, they're working on it. There's a supply shortage, Josh. So yeah, there's a lot of plastic we're waiting for to slap John.
There's not that much carbonite to get me slapped.
Guys, I'm gonna be honest. It just quite astounds me that you planned a Star Trek show and you were thinking, okay, we do a show with Robbie and we do a show with AR. And we're doing a Star Trek show, so let's do it on Wednesday with AR.
It was one of those. It was definitely one of those, bad turns, if you will. It was, we went the wrong direction. I would say.
Yeah, it wasn't ideal. People who did watch it and enjoyed it were glad you hung out with us.
I mean, you would have loved it. We spent a lot of time talking about Star Trek and nostalgia and all that good stuff. And Mariano had some real interesting stuff just from his personal collection. We sold one of his models. There was a game. Star Trek, the Next Generation board game. I don't know if you're familiar with it, Robbie, because when Mariano pulled it out, I was shocked. This was a game put out by a company called Classic Games, way back when Next Gen had first premiered, I think within the first couple of years. And I was a product manager for that company, and it actually happened to be my project.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was really super cool. So we got to talk about that a little bit.
Since then, subsequent projects have not been as good.
Did you sign the game for whoever got it? Did you sign it?
Why? I didn't want to devalue
I
the
didn't
game.
devalue it anymore. That's as low value as me being graded. No one wants that stuff, man.
To start off the show, and Kyle sort of anticipated me, but we're going to do Dynamite 10-pack as we always do. 10 random Dynamite titles. Suggested retail of cover prices will be $3.99 or higher. So a suggested retail of $40 or more for the 10-pack. And we have it, as always, for $5 as a thank you to our viewers out there. A great way to get started with Dynamite Comics as well. They will be 10 random, and at 50 cents a copy, you really can't lose. So that is our first item of the night.
Oh, and before we forget, because we have a bunch of stuff we want to get to, Wednesday's new comic book day.
Yes, it is.
I literally just finished reading Immortal Red Sonja #1. Do yourself a favor and pick that up. It's very, very cool. It's a little bit of a different direction for Red Sonja. And having read this stuff for a long time now, every time there's different direction, I'm like, oh, here we go. But as it turned out, it's very cool. I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes next. My friend Gracie is the cosplay cover for this week. But it's really cool. It's, they're changing her look. You know what I mean? She's got a chainmail shirt. Some people were into it. Some people weren't. The shirt is integral to the story. So I'm not going to tell you spoilers. I'm just going to tell you, you're over at your LCS, pick it up, or email and have them put it in your pull list for when you do get your books. It's a very cool story.
So Stevie B says if it was up to Robbie, you both should have been phased for doing Star Trek without him.
Yeah, we should have really.
We went into. I had
phasers. The phasers at least would be set to stun. So
we appreciate your human kindness there. Well, we were talking about. I had the original. Phaser communicator tricorder set. I forget which company put it out. Was it Mego, maybe? It didn't make any sounds. There were no lights, no nothing. They were just pieces of plastic, and I loved it. Played with it until they all broke. Broke. Yep. The communicator, the cover just flipped right off after multiple usage. But we'll have to have that discussion another time.
The way you got the really expensive versions was to make your parents' life a living hell until they gave you what you wanted. I learned that young in life, which was why I got like the working tricorder that was really like a cassette player, came with a story. I see kids are always like, you don't know what it was like in the good old days. Sure I do. That's how I wound up being the first kid on my block with a talking Viewmaster.
Let me say my mom had a solution for that problem. I get whacked in the head, and that'd be the end of the conversation. Worked really well for her.
Oh, no, see, PBS was on in my house. It's all Mr. Rogers, and now you don't raise voices.
Dude, she'd mess up Big Bird, okay, and Mr. Rogers all in one shot, okay? No doubt about that. All right, so you know what? Let's go to our best offer books. Get that out of the way, give everybody enough time. So if you're new to the show and you have never actually placed a claim on our show, we have two types of claims. One is a buy it now. We'll throw a price out. Claim it in the chats. Jay, who is Be Kind, it's his first day, flying solo. He will throw up a link to our submission form. Make sure to fill out the submission form. That gives us your real name as opposed to your screen name, if they are not the same, and the so important ship to address so we can ship whatever you want. And then we'll have a best offer at the end of the night. So on items of that nature, we'll throw a starting price out, and at $7.55, the person with the highest bid, the highest claim, will be the winner of that particular item. We will keep warning you as we get closer to $7.55. Jay, I don't know if they covered with you the clock. Usually we throw up a countdown clock about 3 minutes usually.
Yeah, usually
about 3 minutes out.
Clock or 2 minutes.
If not a problem. We'll, if they haven't covered it with you, we'll have John keep track of time on that.
Yeah.
Really silly, almost ridiculously silly large watch.
It's a Russian diver watch.
I'm like not leaving, but I'm going to stuff my face with food for a while. So
go stuff your
I
face.
was just
when we get to that point, I got your back.
And I wanted to know, stuff your face, Kyle. Feel free. But who has the nerve to wear a Russian watch in this day and age?
It's called a Russian diver watch. It's not
what does that mean?
Actually Russian. I think Invicta watches are made in Switzerland or Japan.
They might want to rethink that marketing title there going forward. Just call it big watch, ridiculously big watch. Okay, can see it from the next room. That thing is really big. That's like for people that need reading glasses.
Well, it's really big because you got all the gear on when you're diving, right? So it's real small when you're wearing all the gear. When you're just,
that makes sense.
Doing a mediocre podcast, it looks massive. Streaming show.
Hey, I'm excellent every show.
I would love to see. You know what? That's exactly, Marcus. That's exactly what a mortal Red Sonja needs. She needs a separate logo, and I think a Punisher type logo would be very cool.
That would actually be
especially
cool.
Within the context of the new series. I think that's very good.
All right, so first up, Invincible Iron Man number 600, signed by Brian Michael Bendis. This is a best offer book starting at $15. It is limited edition 77 of a 175, and if you look at how much it costs to get a CGC Signature Series cost, I was actually looking that up. Man, there are a lot of services and fees, dude.
Yeah, then we've talked about this before. Every hour reminds John that it's vodka time somewhere. Stevie B's not wrong.
Or bourbon.
Yeah, we talked about this before, that it's still we certainly would not want to discourage anyone from getting books.
No, listen, if you have, I
but,
no. But I mean, comparatively speaking, we got a best offer at $15. I'm just looking at their price structure. The economy is $50 with a max value of $400. You can add 15 to fast track. Let's see.
Disney doing their pricing now?
Quote unquote fast track.
Yeah,
fast track.
Fast is relative.
So basically, it's like, do you guys just want to give us an extra $15?
Wow. Okay, hold on. All right. So it's $50 is the economy version. And their current estimated time is 211 days.
Yeah.
For your extra $15 to fast track,
you can reduce 10 days.
No, it's a little better than that.
Okay.
It's 79 days.
Okay.
So
how much for them to do it in a week? Because I'm impatient.
All right, hold on. Okay, you can get it done. Oh, that's a walkthrough. You can't walk through. Let's see. Well, you could walk through, theoretically. So walkthrough would get it to you in 10 days. But let me see. Oh, no. But this is based on value. Unlimited, but it's 3% of fair market value, $165 minimum.
Yeah, so if it's got a particular value, right, and then you have to pay a percentage of value.
And they want 3%. But if the value falls below, I guess, 165, then they'll charge you a flat fee of 165.
I just throw this out to Vladimir. Vladimir, keep this in mind. Growing old isn't an option. Growing up is.
Well said. Very well said.
Growing up is optional, man. If you
that is actually very well said.
Let us know.
All right.
And with the CGC stuff too, like especially if you're at a con and you're gonna get a book signed, they got to bring over a witness, right? You got to give them the book and all that stuff, and then add in the time that it's going to take them to get that book to where it needs to go. So
right. No, exactly. And Brian Michael Bendis is not an easy autograph to get either. So.
I don't think he's done a single con since the pandemic, like at all. I don't think he's done anything.
Somebody actually said that. Somebody said that Bendis is on a list of people that haven't done a con since like the end of 2019. We went to the pandemic. I think we had a couple cons at the beginning of 2020, and then they kind of shut everything down. And hey, 62 Lefty.
62 Lefty. What's up?
I haven't been to a con. This is the longest period of time in my adult life I haven't been to a comic book convention.
Yeah, so he just keeps coming here.
I bring the con wherever I go.
You do it that, my friend. We should bring more sandwiches. Just being honest.
It's not a kitchen con, it's a comic con. Can always be both.
I don't see why not.
Just wear the gloves.
All right, so next best offer book.
62 Lefty Blues taking a shot at Brian Michael.
Wow, that hurts. Bendis was supposed to be at Baltimore Con last fall and canceled last minute.
He actually was on social media one day apologizing, and they were talking. Several other creators tagged in onto that conversation on social media and said what they're hoping for is they want to go to the con. They want to see their fans, right? But there's always changing city ordinances and state regulations, and you know what I mean? It's just, plus, different creators have different comfort levels, different health levels, different risk levels, It's not easy. Personally, I thought creators, and I get why they didn't do this, right? Publishers, the last thing a publisher wants is for a creator to say, I'll see you in 3 years. And for sure, event organizers are just like, oh my God, you're killing us.
Right.
So they want to try to be, you know what I mean? They want to try to be a little bit optimistic. But I think this was one of these things the last couple of years where optimism was great and all, but it wasn't very applicable. You know what I mean? Like you would go into a city and Denver or whatever would be like, yeah, no. You got to you got to be in a glass box, you got to do this and that. I just don't know. I've talked about this before. I've spent a lot of money at cons. Hopefully my wife isn't watching, but I've spent a lot, and not just on stuff.
I can almost guarantee your wife is not watching.
I know, right? Hotel room, airfare. I've spent a significant amount of money in the 21st century going to cons, and I'll tell you right now, nobody. Yeah, Josh just mentioned it. We're 20 minutes outside of Philadelphia, on the other side of the bridge. They just changed their mask regulations again. They just kind of got that con in. And I'll tell you right now, there's no way people are going to drop $700, $800, $900 to go to Chicago, San Diego, Dragon Con, whatever, Atlanta, and they're going to, they're going to be 500 yards away from talent. They're going to be outside. It's a con is like a shoulder-to-shoulder experience. It's what kind of why I love it so much.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
You're there to see everything. See the vendors and stuff, and it's going to be difficult to do in a pandemic kind of situation. And Josh is correct. I just heard this morning on the news that they were bringing the mask mandate back in the city of Philadelphia.
The cases went up. They didn't have a choice.
The cases went up.
The health person reported to the mayor's office and said, "Look, we got cases skyrocketing. Jersey's got cases skyrocketing."
I don't know. I mean, we're now into year 3 of this. Obviously, what has happened has happened. It's unfortunate, but life has changed as we've known it.
You're right. I think the phrase now is it's not a pandemic; it's an endemic.
Yes,
we're
just going to be living with it. Yeah,
you got to sort of kind of be careful. Do your own research, whatever you're comfortable with. You know what I mean? I know people that won't run into Wawa. Seriously. Wawa's a convenience store here in South Jersey. They're everywhere. It's kind of like part of our culture.
And if you're a regular viewer and you don't know that already, because you're not paying attention.
But there are people that are still, there are people on Facebook that are like, I haven't been to Wawa in 3 years. I miss it. So I start telling them now, they have sushi now and teppanyaki and they serve beer. Really? And I'm like, you'll never know if you don't go.
Well, 62 Lefty, I think tongue in cheek says, what if someone sold books online instead? You know what? Hey, I get it. 62 Lefties.
That idea never
a
work.
Joke. No, it's a loser.
Who would do that?
It's a loser.
That's a losing prop right there.
Not like what we're doing. Come on.
We're not selling books. We're offering opportunities.
We're sharing John's wisdom.
Yikes! There's not much of that. You better throw a book up fast.
Yeah, right.
I got no wisdom. Unless Robbie's got something smart,
we'll throw up another book, another best offer book, and it is Adventure Man #1, signed by Terry and Rachel Dodson, and it is a best offer book starting at $10, and it is number 3 of a limited edition of 25.
Very nice.
That's a nice book, and I tell people right now, this is you know how sometimes you look at a book and you're not sure what to expect, or maybe you look at a book and you buy it on spec and it's not quite what you hoped. If you have any sort of vibe for pulp and you look at this cover, this book is exactly what you think it would be, and dial that up to about 11. They just do an amazing job in this series. I can't say enough about this. I think this is the kind of thing that if some subscription service is smart, they'll try to secure the rights to this, because Adventure Man would make a very cool limited series.
All right. 62 Lefty is in at 12 on the Dodson book. Got it, buddy. So,
That's
all right. So,
book.
Stevie B's now at 15. Gotcha, Stevie B. All right.
Ronald, what do you want to see? We're going to do this differently. Ronald, what do you want to see first?
All right. And while Ronald's trying to determine that, I'm going to go ahead and throw out a quick PSA, public service announcement. I would encourage everyone that's viewing right now, go find a local animal shelter, a non-kill animal shelter, and volunteer, spend some money, donate some money, donate some, towels. They always need towels and food, old blankets. And the reason I'm 62 Lefty is up to 16. And the reason I'm throwing this PSA out there is this weekend I had, and Watcher CCA, you got it, Ron. I had an interesting experience. I'm proud of my daughter in that I've raised her to be this human being.
Tell me she brought home like a dog sled.
It gets better than that. Okay, but unfortunately, these things always seem to occur at the worst possible times. So on Saturday, my daughter coaches the softball team. Those regular viewers would know that. And I help her. I'm her assistant coach, which is an interesting dynamic, taking orders from your daughter. And weather here in the Northeast has been very, very crappy, for lack of a better term. It was cold, it was rainy, and we had a rain delay. Now, the way this field was set up, the dugouts are covered and made of cinder block, and wood benches that are affixed to the wall. And there's a little gap, and I see my daughter during a rain delay looking in there, and an entire team of 11-year-old girls gathered around her.
No.
I'm like, at first I'm thinking she dropped her phone, but you can reach underneath. I'm like, what is the problem? So I'm like, what are you people doing? And it was explained to me that there was a injured baby squirrel.
Oh no!
That was there.
So
right?
it's joined the Wang family.
So
now?
she's trying to retrieve it. I'm like, that thing's going to bite you. They carry rabies, blah, 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 blah. And I was basically told to go away.
Go away.
All right. I will deal with it.
You're the assistant coach. Go by the food.
Oh, my Lord. So after some whatever, she manages to grab the squirrel. I'm amazed, right? And the squirrel, I have to admit, was just amazingly just calmed down almost immediately. All right. And allowed my daughter to hold it,
She
whatever.
has calm energy and stuff, probably.
Whatever, dude. So we're in the middle of this, and I'm trying to work with the tournament director to try to get us rescheduled in the fields and whatever. And it was just a mess, right? So I told my daughter, what are we going to do with the squirrel? Okay. We're in Staten Island. What are we going to do with this thing? We're going to be here all day. It's like, don't worry about it. I'll deal with it. Luckily, her boyfriend had come to watch the game. So
tell me it's going to be part of her Squirrel Girl cosplay.
So we're calling every place in Staten Island. There's nothing. I mean, not. They're not even answering the phone, right? I'm like, she's like, well, what are we going to do? And I go, what do you mean? I mean, this is the course of nature. I mean, maybe nature meant for it to die. I mean, I don't know, right? It's injured, whatever. And she goes, it could have been a bird. I said, well, that's nature. Okay. Yeah, that didn't fly.
No.
So next thing you know, I have to call a friend who happens to work for a local shelter. Thank God I know people. So she clued me in that there's another place that would take these woodland creatures because it's a squirrel. It's not even like it's a cat or a dog. Do shelters even take them? So after a lot of rigmarole, we did find a place locally. And after the tournament, I told my daughter, I said, look, I'm going to drive us all home. You two can go and do whatever you got to do with the squirrel. So she dropped the squirrel off to this place, and we imagine that it will be after it's, nursed back to health.
It's up to it went to a farm in the country?
I don't know, dude. They're going to release it into nature. I don't know what they do with squirrels.
I wanted this to be like Rocky Wang, the new addition here.
I was amazed because this place was open until 9 p.m. on a Saturday.
Oh, wow, that's late.
Yeah, so it kind of, and then I thanked my friend, and she told me, she said, make sure if you can donate some money or just stuff that they may need.
If you're on social media, today's hashtag National Pet Day.
That's
so
right. This was actually has some relevance.
If you have a couple bucks or something to donate, I mean, those shelters, they're trying as best they can.
All right, Ron, you want to see the Watcher CCA, don't you? All right, so we got to go to a break, but we're gonna do that. X-Men #1, signed with Watcher, color art sketch by Ken Hayes.
Wow.
Suggested retail of $89.99. It is a best offer book starting at $25.
Wow.
And this one I did really find. This is our last one. So this is
the last CCA.
Cool. No, it's the last one of this.
Oh, okay.
There was one.
I went through the box on the
phone. No roadkill for him. He was going for the dugout demise.
Yikes.
I knew my daughter's like this. She's done this throughout her life. I remember one time the last day.
Ron claims the book, by the way.
Well, Ron, it's a best offer book, buddy, starting at 25. So you want me? I'll put you down for 25, Ron. All right. So
I love that cover. That's amazing.
I saw it and jumped out at me, no doubt. I was like, oh, I got to put this on the show. And then, we only had the one left. I'm pretty sure we only had one left. And it's one of the older Ken Hazel works, I believe from 2011.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because you can tell the older Ken Hazer stuff, he doesn't sign in the bold pens. He signs in his thin pen, and he puts the year on there.
Yeah, he changed his signature changed after.
Yeah, so it's a little different.
His 7,000th CCA.
Yeah, right. All right, so stay with us. We're going to take our first break. We'll be back in a couple minutes. All right, and we're back. All right, so
We're going to do a CCA double shot because Ron is so patient.
You know what? Let me get the best offer books out of the way, though, to give everybody enough time, and then we'll do the Venom after that.
The hell with them. No.
You never do what John wants to do, Rex. You never do what he wants to do.
Hey, if there was a taco truck parked out front,
worse.
okay, I do everything he says.
It could have been worse. It could
But
have been
months and months, and there is
still.
still, yeah. You know what? I'm going to do a recap.
There's
Actually,
2 books. There's nothing to recap.
there are actually 4, and I'm recapping it anyway, just because there's no taco truck, and I really feel like tacos today.
Oh my god!
I mean, I went to this tournament where we found the squirrel, the girl's name, Cornelius. I don't know why. All right. And the only reason I went is they have these great sausage and peppers at their concession stand, and there was no sausage and peppers this year. I almost reported them to you. I figured you must be some sort of policing authority for such
that's
things.
One of the things you can't do. I've organized tons of these things over the years, and that's something you just can't do. You have to be consistent. You can add new items, but if you become known as the sausage and pepper truck or the burrito truck or something,
I told the tournament director I'm not coming next year. No sausage and peppers. I'm done. He goes, well,
You may have been the only Rex. What if you were the only person that consistently bought them? You know what I'm saying?
Again, Robbie, that sounds like a them problem, not a me problem.
I think you can go make your own sausage and peppers.
So that's it. End of story. That's how it works. I want a taco truck out front. John wants to see Green Hornet. I want to see taco truck. I think it's a fair exchange.
There's more Green Hornet in my house than on this show.
And that will be the way it will be until I see a taco truck. And you better not bring me Taco Bell or something and try to slide through that way. That ain't going to work.
I don't know if I've eaten at a Taco Bell in the 21st century. I really don't. I don't know if I've eaten any of their food.
I don't know if I've eaten at a Taco Bell in the last 30 days.
Oh, 30 days. I was going to say, for me, it's like 30 years.
I had Taco Bell last week.
I mean, it's convenient. All right, so let's see. All right, next best offer book is What If Miles Morales, number 1, CGC graded, guaranteed 9.8. Suggested retail of $99.99. It is a best offer book starting at $25 tonight.
That's a steal because this book was super, super hot. This is basically, don't think of it as a what if book. Think of it as a Miles verse book because that's what it is, right? It's like a Spider-Verse Miles thing. They're doing Gwenverse, and I guess they didn't want to do a Gwenverse and a Miles verse at the same time. But that's what this is, a series of one-shots introducing, like, this is what if Miles Morales was Captain America. So this is another reality.
Miles Vereen.
Right? So you know that with the Spider-Verse stuff popping like it is, with Miles popping like it is, and the multiverse stuff popping like it is, they're going to be using iterations of this character. So 9.8,
yeah.
You see this is going to be
like
cheap.
Robbie said, this is a spoiler alert. I'll tell you right now. This is going to wind up being on What If season whatever for Disney Plus or Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness 3. A version of this is going to show up. They're going to have the right actor they want to be.
So Marcus is first at the 25, Lars, man. So if you want, you have to come up on 25. So he got in just a second before you. And pretty much at a start of 25, I mean, I'm looking, I've got it up. I mean, to get it graded, modern present, let's see, is $24. And that's 120 days. And if you want a fast track for an additional $15, you can cut that down to 39 days. So pretty much we're offering this at a starting offer. Okay, Lars Man's at 30. Gotcha,
30.
Lars Man.
Well, like Robbie said,
Dwayne's a Pain actually dropped in at 40 right before him.
Oh, yes, you're right. Dwayne's a Pain. Sorry, Lars Man. Dwayne's a Pain is in the lead.
This is a book that this disappeared. Robbie mentioned this before. I think we talked about this a little bit with Alec too. This is a book that disappeared. It hit the stores. And it was gone. And immediately everybody started, you know what I mean? Oh, I've got a copy for 30. I've got a copy for 40. Yeah. Go take a look at what a 9.8 in a slab is.
So Lars Man, just to update everybody, Lars Man is currently in the lead at 45.
This is a book that you'll get now and you'll have instant value built into it. You know
so Marcus has an interesting question. Can they do animation if Marvel doesn't have rights to Spidey? I don't know what the deal is currently with the Marvel Sony deal.
You know what they do have. This is one of these deals where they'll have to negotiate it out because they don't have the rights, I guess, to Miles Morales. They do have the rights to Captain America. So this is one of these things where they're going to have to maybe, hopefully they can do it amicably so we get the best possible thing. But they talked about this previously in the Avengers and when they wanted to do the big scene. Hugh Jackman wanted on board, and they were like, see, here's the problem. Hugh Jackman's an X-Men. He's also an Avenger. So now what are they going to do? They're going to sit in an office and spend $1 bazillion hammering this out.
Well, wasn't that one of the big deals with Namor, with the Submariner? Because they're like, he's a mutant, but he's an Avenger, and he's kind of, and then Universal was like, but we got the rights. And so that's why it was in there. It was like forever there was this dispute about that.
I mean, let's be honest. Before Disney's purchase, Marvel had about a 30-year history of horrific studio deals.
Right.
The worst being Sony. You never just in perpetuity give away the store. I don't care if you can't keep the lights on. Giving a studio Spider-Man, that's just bad business. I will never agree to that. And I understand, things are different now. Now, if I have one product that people like, I don't sell it to a studio. And they wound up going broke anyway.
Right.
Maybe you wind up getting enough money for it. So
yeah.
All right. So Stevie B.
And yes, Marcus, you're right. Sony, there's going to be Spider-Verse cartoon. And my guess would be Sony's going to look at Spider-Man and they're kind of seeing what's going on with Disney Plus, right? And they're seeing what's going on with Amazon, and people are sort of getting these animated series on streaming services together. I have to believe at some point Sony will hit up Netflix or somebody and they'll say, hey, look, let's do a Spider-Verse animated series.
All right, let me update everybody. So Stevie B is at 20 on the Adventure Man, and he's at 30 on the X-Men #1 with the Watcher sketch art. And Dwayne is up to 50 on the What If. All right, I think I'm up to speed. Station Comics King, thanks for joining us, man.
We got the artist.
The artist, Jesse say what? Welcome, buddy. Station, bro. Station. All right, so let's see. What else do we have? All right, so I'm going to get to the last best offer item of the evening, and that will be the Red Sonja Amanda Connor statue bronze variant. And that has a suggested retail of $149.99, and it is a best offer item starting at $50 sign. All right, and that takes care of all the best offers. Yes, let me see. Let me just double check. Oh, no, there's one more. Sorry, my bad. But we'll throw that up there for a second.
What are the dimensions on the statue? Do we know?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we actually do. Hold on a second, bud. It's 7.5 inches high by 3 inches at the base.
Nice.
And all right, so Lars Man is at, hold on, let me get you down, buddy. Lars Man is at 75 on the statue. Gotcha, buddy. All right, so
I love Amanda Connor's artwork and her designs and stuff.
Yeah, this is a little bit different. We talked about this before. My personal favorite of the Dynamite statue line is Women of Dynamite, but it's very over the top. Amanda Connor's work is a little bit more, I think, rooted in, like a more realistic art style. It's not, so in your face. And I got to tell you, this is just very, very, very cool.
Brother Joe, thanks for joining us, man.
Station.
We appreciate it.
Because, let's be honest, Red Sonja is an over-the-top character as it is, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Heads getting cut off, blood everywhere. So it takes a lot of skill, which, of course, she has, to kind of just dial Sonja down like a little bit, like visually.
Yeah, and her style is also kind of tied into that classic, like, Silver Age feel, too. You know what I'm saying? I get a lot of, like, Garcia Lopez from her and things like that. Very expressive.
That's spot on.
All right, so Ron is up to 35 on the Watcher. Okay.
That Watcher cover's so dope. That thing looks amazing.
I walked in here and I was like, I'm waiting to see there'll be blood in the water, people fighting over this.
All right, so last best offer book of the night, X-Men Curse of the Mutants, Blade #1, signed by Dwayne Swierczynski. And suggested retail of $69.99. It is a best offer book starting at $20. And that's the last best offer we have for the night. All right.
Blade books are heating up right now. I'm a huge Blade fan, right? And so there's just a handful of stuff I still need from the 90s. And I went online like a few weeks ago just to kind of fill in those holes. Screw that. Those prices are outrageous for most books that nobody cared about, man. So, yeah.
Well, it's super nice to see Blade getting the respect, the movie Blade getting the respect. You know what I mean? Like superheroes, we talked about this before, comic book movies power Hollywood now.
Yeah.
There's maybe 2 or 3 other things, but it's essentially comic book movies, right? Blade was in there. Blade was in there real early, and Blade was in there with Hollywood talent that maybe were, people didn't want to do that. A guy like Wesley Snipes, he was huge at that time.
Yeah.
I would have totally understood if he would have said, hey, look, man, I appreciate it, but I'm good. He jumped in there and he decided, you know what, we're going to kick open the door on this comic book movie thing. And I think people are realizing that. I see the movie being streamed constantly now. I see the prices, like Robbie mentioned, the back issues going up.
And Ron's at 25 on Blade. I got you, Ron.
Yeah. When you get 1 of 25,
that's a great.
Yeah, it is number 4 of 75 limited edition.
I can't read that. Is that what it is? Number 475?
Yeah, 4 out of 75. So let me see. John Spilios, what's going on, buddy? 40 on the Watcher. Gotcha, buddy. Let me find it. All right, John S. You are at
the Amanda Conner version statue really is different. Like, I'm actually here looking at it in contrast to other Sony statues and boxes. It really has a unique look to it.
So John Spilios, I did want to mention something. I did receive your email. I responded to it. The question that you had. So if you haven't had a chance to look for it, I did find the book that you were interested in. But he did mention something else. He added something else from a previous show we had, that the whole Tom Brady Miami thing was a nothing but a rumor. But I read last week, I think I may have talked to Robbie about it, a whole new conspiracy theory about this.
Oh my God.
That the whole Tom Brady retirement thing was a sham. And it was done in the hopes that the Bucks would release him. And then he would, all right, Ron, 50 for the Watcher. You got it. And he retired in the hopes that the Bucks would clear and release him. And then he was going to become a part owner of the Dolphins, then become starting quarterback for the Dolphins. And to add a little more juice to this conspiracy theory, Sean Payton was supposed to become the head coach. But everything got waxed when Brian Flores sued everybody. Supposedly, this is the new theory. Now, I don't know, and I don't really have any skin in that game. Okay, I'm an Eagles fan. So, but I do find it interesting. All right, too elaborate of a plan. I would almost kind of agree with that, Marcus. But I don't know, man. I don't know.
That's what I think. I can just imagine, Rex, though. I imagine you in your room and you got like thumbtacks with thread going from like post to post, and you're just like trying to figure out this conspiracy theory.
No way.
He's going to write a book. He's going to be like, I'm retiring. I'm going to write a book, The Brady Conspiracy.
Oh my God.
I'm think of it. There are no lines of thread or anything like that. That's way too much work. It's me on my phone while watching ESPN with a beer in my hand. That's pretty much how all this comes about.
Whoa.
They planned for solar eclipse 3 at the end of the days. The Mayans called it, Marcus. Remember?
John says their offensive line is the worst in the league. That sounds to me to be rationalization that John may actually fear that there may be some grains of truth in this conspiracy theory. Dwayne Zapane says Gronk is a mastermind. Do not underestimate him. I love his shoe
setting that
commercials.
mastermind bar pretty low, man. When I was a kid, like Reed Richards was a mastermind. Now it's the Gronk.
It's the Gronk. All right, John Spilios is in the lead at 55 for the Watcher. Gotcha, buddy.
This Watcher thing is so cool. Speaking of super cool CCAs.
All right, so John wants to do Venom.
I love this. I love this style. I love Venom, Alien. It's just.
And
this is my
in honor of my daughter's human kindness towards the baby squirrel named Cornelius, even though there is no taco truck outside.
Is it Cornelius Wang? Did you adopt it legally?
No.
Oh.
And I tried to keep everybody from naming it. That's how you get attached. Don't name the squirrel. Don't name the squirrel. All right. So we have Venom number 25, signed and cover sketch art by Ken Hazer. Suggested retail of $89.99. We have it tonight for $62 for Spider-Man First Appearing in Amazing Fantasy number 15. Now, I know we've had this before, but we have different perspectives. Like, I don't really think we've done this one full frontal shot there of Venom. We've had different three-quarter turns.
Yeah, we had like a three-quarter turn or a half turn or something.
So I've noticed going through that there are different angles that he's done this in. So
this is totally
up to 65 on the Watcher. I got you, Ron.
This is totally an Eric Larson too, because I'm looking right there. I got a poster of Spider-Man 347 with that Larson venom with the tongue hanging out.
Right.
But like, I'm looking at it, even the way that the teeth are crooked out, like at the top up there, everything about it, it's totally based on that. And this is just such a really, I thought that Watcher would be the best one we had tonight. This one is fire. That tongue is gnarly. The highlights that he's using with that, and we talk about this all the time. That silver stuff, that's hard to work with.
It really is.
Wow.
And he actually
Silver
mentions
paint
this on Instagram. He's like, it is not.
It globs, it smears,
It's
it
not
doesn't
great.
dry.
The fact that he gets this out the way it does.
I mean, if you're a left-handed artist, it must be almost impossible to work with.
I can't.
So, well, I can't draw anything. So,
I gotta tell you,
Large Man says he picked John Spilios. I picked you up a Punisher #1 Alex Ross cover. I should have it in a week or so from Miss Jen. Once I get it, I will find a way to get it to you. That is very nice.
See, that's community. That's
That is
naming
community.
the squirrel Cornelius.
It's the best community ever. Man.
Listen, he is in the safe hands of the shelter, local shelter here. I'm sure that when he's all healed up, he will be released
Today's
into the
what,
wild.
Monday?
You know,
Yeah.
Rex, what's crazy?
Thursday.
What's crazy is that I had the same experience several years ago with a former girlfriend of mine, right? She found a squirrel that was injured and brought the squirrel into the apartment. And I come home from work. I'm like, why is there a squirrel here? And could not get anybody that had any information about who we are supposed to take this to. Because most people are like, it's a squirrel. Just like leave it alone, right? But we had that squirrel in the apartment for like 2 days until we finally got like an address to take it to someone who like rescues wildlife just on her own, you know, like not even part of an organization. But we bonded with it. We
Facebook at this point for that.
We named him Squirrely, is what we named him, Squirrely. But
wow, that's so original. I can tell you right now that 6 out of 12 11-year-olds on my daughter's team had picked Squirrely. All right, John.
All right,
Spilios
Rex.
John Spilios is up to 75 on the Watcher. I got you, John.
When Robbie said it was a former girlfriend, I'm like, is this a tie-in where he put his foot down and said it's me or
No
squirrel?
squirrels.
And the next thing you knew, he was out in his car.
Honey,
with his
we got to
bags.
break up this whole squirrel thing. I'm sorry. I can't do it. Eagly, exactly.
Exactly.
Well, what's funny is that when we were asking around, you know, obviously it became the center of attention. Everybody, all the kids want to see the squirrel in the little box. Yeah, so she got this like little bites, those donuts. Those not donuts, but little little muffins. So somebody had a box, took that box, put some towels in it, and that's where Cornelius spent the day.
I thought you were about to tell me they were feeding the squirrel muffins. I thought you
No,
were
they were not. Actually,
I don't know.
I told my friend, thank God. I mean, I have to admit, I have been lucky in life. I'm not the richest guy in the world by any stretch of the imagination, but it seems like I've worked long enough and met enough people in the course of my days that I know somebody that is an expert on something.
Yeah.
Okay. I just an expert on something through their walks of life. Most of it is connected to softball. John is not about the only one that isn't. But I mean, now John has become my food expert locally. I ask him for recipes and stuff. So there's always somebody I can call. Thank God I called her because she said, yeah. She goes, there's not a lot of places. So she started looking for me in her database, and she found this one place. It was actually in Medford.
That's not bad.
So I will say, if you're not familiar with the town I just mentioned, it is a very woodsy town. It's a suburb.
By a lake. It's very
suburban. It's very kind of woodsy, even more suburban than most suburban. So I feel that I have improved the quality of life for this squirrel because the squirrel was living in Staten Island. And I brought it to the woods.
Staten Island, yikes.
All right, I brought it to the woods. I mean, it was $17 in tolls to get the squirrel back here.
They're going to get the squirrel all fixed up. They're going to get the squirrel all fixed up, release it back out, and it's like it's free, and then get snatched up by some bird or something.
Easily picks it up as soon as
my daughter had a theory. She goes, sometimes birds will come by and instead of trying to just kill it with their claws, they'll drop it from a height. And she suspects that this is what happened. The whole time she's trying to get me to look at it in the box. And I'm like, look, no, stop. She goes, she starts, she having the girls kind of pick names. I'm like, no, stop. Everybody stop. It's the squirrel. Okay. Don't name it. Okay.
It's Cornelius.
But I was told, because I asked my friend, I said, well, should we give it some water? So it turned out that the squirrel had been around for a couple of days. There was a little boy there that says, oh yeah, the squirrel was here yesterday. and nobody did anything except my kid. And actually, the tournament director goes, "Yeah, I know about that squirrel. So you guys got it?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah." He goes, "Good. You guys take care of it then." I'm like, "Whoa,
I was just waiting for it to die.
I mean, I'm like, "Whoa."
Let's see if we can get an artist to do a sketch of Cornelius Wang.
I have to admit, though, the squirrel stayed in the box. The squirrel slept. And, my daughter holding the box. And, on the drive home, she was tired. She was dozing off. The boyfriend sitting in the back had to hold the box. She was afraid to drop the box. It was just a whole ordeal. We got home and it was cold. We stood in the cold. It was raining sideways. My daughter doesn't even play anymore. She's the coach. I'm a volunteer. I'm thinking, what am I doing? I got up at 5:00 in the morning to get to Staten Island so we could be there on time. Now I got to deal with a lost squirrel. Oh, my Lord.
You work at Dynamite Comics. You should have a smile on your face each day. All we hear is sadness about a squirrel.
Okay. To the man who is retired and perpetually on vacation. Okay. And does this for fun.
There's varying levels of vacation. There's staycation, and then there's I'm out of town, and then there's I'm out of town with my phone shut off.
When you go home, you're retired. It's already a staycation by definition. Stevie B says,
Marcus, a test for the boyfriend to show his responsibility. Yep. If you can't handle a squirrel, how are you going to handle anything else in life?
That's right.
I handled the squirrel. The squirrel is safe. Cornelius has a new home. One collection down. What's going on, brothers? Thanks for joining us tonight. All right. I think it's time for the best part of the show that John loves. Which part is it, John?
Oh, the recap.
People are here.
It's recap time. Thank you.
We haven't done any books.
There are people that are joining us a little late, so I'm going to give them a recap.
Thank you. Books are being thrown up there. Look at that from 10.
The thing John likes just as much as a recap, Batman.
There you go.
Nice.
All right. We'll get. You know what? Since you threw it up, we'll do that one. Detective Comics number 1027, cover C. J. Scott Campbell, Batman, Batgirl variant, silver signature series, signed by John Romita Jr. Suggested retail of $149.99. Tonight we have one available for $75. It is limited edition number 3 of 5.
That is a great view of the Batcave, though, isn't it, man?
It is.
Wow.
It is.
And fan favorite artist, J. Scott Campbell, and JR, of course, did some interior work here, right? So that's why his signature's on there. But
yes,
he's not an easy signature to come by these days either. So he's going to be a Heroes Con, but you got to make the trek to get there.
All right. So I think John Spilios is claiming that. All right, you got it, John.
Now you got to go get J. Scott to sign it, John. Spilio.
All right. So
I have J. Scott Campbell signing a cover of Sheena, and oh my God, I love this thing. And it's signed in the appropriate color. Emerald green.
Nice.
I love this thing.
You and the green critique. So it's National Pet Day today, as John reminded us. Again, I'm gonna throw that PSA out there. Donate to your local shelters, your no-kill shelters.
Cornelius Wang.
In the name of the squirrel, he who shall not be named.
Oh no!
Yeah, I couldn't even believe it, dude.
Oh my God,
I'm rolling down the Jersey Turnpike, trying to get home, thinking to myself,
squirrel.
There's me.
I want to get like
there's
a beer and a sandwich. And I got
there's
a
the boyfriend, and I got a damn squirrel in the car. And all I want to do is go home and throw my feet up and watch a little TV before we got to get up at dark Thursday on Sunday morning. And the first question when we arrive at the field from the entire team and the staff at the tournament, how's the squirrel doing? I'm like, I ate it.
I have a squirrel gravy recipe somewhere I picked up from somewhere.
I used to have a buddy used to hunt squirrel, and a whole bunch of us were over, and he made a squirrel stew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but there are parts of the country. It's not even far parts of the country. You go out past like Hershey, PA.
It was Virginia.
Yeah, there are people who there's squirrel gravy and biscuits, and I'm just like,
I was about to say
squirrel's tasty eating.
Say that again, Kyle.
Squirrel is tasty eating. Just don't eat the tail.
Not enough of it. I remember he said I asked him how many squirrels he bagged, and my friend way back when, I told my daughter this story. She was not happy. And he bagged like 15. And there were only little pebbles of meat in that stew, dude.
Yeah, it's like bush. It's not. Although I like 62 Lefty Blues. Read my mind. Name that squirrel D's.
Yeah, I like that one. 62.
Nice.
Oh, I hate to tell my daughter that. Wouldn't it suck if they release a squirrel into a while and it gets killed the same day by some predator? I would not say this. It would not be a happy time in my house.
Man.
No, I guarantee you, she is not watching the show. Just like I can guarantee you, your wife is not watching.
This show is blocked by two people: your daughter and my wife.
Oh my God, that would be worse if we find out they're talking to each other. Oh my God, can you believe these two idiots?
What are they doing? I'm changing my last name.
All right, so let's see. You know what? Let's do The Walking Dead next. We have The Walking Dead number 171 Blood Red Signature Series, signed by Stefano Guadiano. Suggested retail of $59.99, and we have it for $20.10 for the year that the TV series started.
Yeah.
All right.
Very cool.
So,
This is like one of those. This is one of these books and prices where people kind of want to put their foot in the water, right?
Right.
I mean, people see collecting, hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars. I mean, you look at original art, and the person who's unfamiliar with original art prices, has a brain aneurysm. They can't believe how expensive it is. This is a way for you to get something really cool.
Well,
signed by a creator at
something Nick says.
Lunch costs.
Something Nick says that I wholeheartedly agree with, and so does John. Always remember, buy what you love, and if it goes up in value, it's great. If it doesn't, you're not hurt by it because it's something that you love. That's always the best way to approach that. So Lars Man says, my ex-wife rescued a squirrel, put it in the garage, got bitten, and we had a loose squirrel in the garage for a day or so.
So she's an ex-wife, so we're greenlit to laugh at this, right?
Yes, we are.
See, Rex, think about it. Your day could have been worse.
Well, I was shocked, because then my daughter insisted she had to come into the house and take a shower before she could go and drop the squirrel off. And all I'm thinking is we have two cats. Okay. Not that I think my cats are deadly hunters or anything. Actually, I'm pretty sure that they might be brain damaged when we got them. They're not smart, John. They're not smart.
This is National Pet Day.
Listen, we'll come back to this story when we get back from our next break.
Oh, we have a break. Thank God.
All right. Dude, we're always off track. This is what the show is.
Brain damaged cats are way off track. This isn't like
I'm talking about a squirrel we rescued. Okay, let's take a break before Rex gets canceled by PETA.
I have Pete on.
That's a good plan.
Too.
That's a good plan. All right, so we're gonna take a break. Stay with us. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time. Did you know that every experience show, including some exclusive content, streams on Twitch? Check it out. Twitch.tv/the_EXP. Or just scan that QR code.
There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit ComicShopLocator.com to find a store near you.
That cover up there.
So
we are back.
Yeah, so 62 Lefty heard one of my stories about the cats. Josh went, please send your donation to Rex's brain damaged cat. So when we got him during the pandemic, they were bonded brothers. So my daughter says, well, we can't separate them. So we brought them both home, right? And they had a little history. They were dropped off. They were found in a local part of town. And they were just found outside. So my daughter and I, we backfilled the story in our own heads with, who knows how long they were out there, and the poor things, and it was cold and how they must have suffered. So 2.5 years now with these pandemic cats, I've noticed that there is no possible way that they survive for any length of period on their own. So now my revised theory on what happened was they're the luckiest cats on the face of the earth. They were probably abandoned outside and lasted 5 minutes, and some kind person found them and rescued them and took them to the shelter, because these two idiots would not have lasted 5 minutes, on their own. How do I know this? So one of the first things we did when we got them home, when they were cute little kittens, was to get them to show up wherever they were in the house. We'd scream out cheese, and then we give them a little cheese. So if you go through my house and you scream cheese, they come running down. Lately, I don't know if they're overfed, probably, somewhat brain damaged, probably. And I will actually put cheese in the bowl and they won't realize it's in there. Okay. So tell me how these cats were going to survive in the wild for that long. 5 minutes. I give them 5 minutes out there. So, all right. So it is definitely time for a recap for anybody that joined us that might have missed.
Stevie B asked, who was it? Somebody just asked about, Stevie B just asked about Kato. Kato's got a bunch of different meanings in Japanese, depending on region and dialect or whatever. Probably my favorite meaning of Kato in Japanese is to go above and beyond, to add to increase. And I always thought that was a super appropriate name for the Green Hornet's partner in crime fighting.
Talk about me going off track.
I'm answering a question from someone that would be buying stuff.
Of your favorite comic character of all time.
Well, in Greek, it means beneath or below.
So.
All right. So
I don't think he's Greek, though.
So Josh said he got a bonded pair, too. I know what you're saying, Josh, but I think they were, because when we went to the shelter, and it was my friend who works there, but when we went to the shelter, they had them both in the same cage. Usually they keep them separate. So, and they did appear to be bond brothers when we got them home. They were now they get on each other's nerves and mine. All right, so let's do a recap real quick. So we started off with the Dynamite 10-pack reader set, suggested retail of $40 or higher. And as always, as a thank you to our viewers, we have it for $5. So 50 cents a comic. Then we did Invincible Iron Man number 600, signed by Brian Michael Bendis. And it was a best offer book at $15. Then we did Adventure Man number 1, signed by Terry and Rachel Dodson. And currently Stevie B is in the lead at 20. And then let's see, that was claimed by our buddy John Spilios. Then we had The Walking Dead number 171, Blood Red Signature Series by Stefano Guadiano. Suggested retail of $59.99, and we have it tonight. One available. Buy it now, $20.10. Then we did X-Men Curse of the Mutants, Blade number 1, signed by Dwayne Swerinski. Oh, my, that's always a mouthful for me. Suggested retail of $69.99. It is the best offer book. Ron is in the lead at 25. Then we had Venom number 25, signed in cover sketch art by Ken Hazer. Suggested retail of $89.99, and we have one available for $62. That's a nice one.
That's crazy.
Then we have, let's see, X-Men number 1, signed with Watcher color art sketch by Ken Hazer. Suggested retail of $89.99. Currently, John Spilios is in the lead at 75. And then we had What If Miles Morales number 1, CGC graded, guaranteed 9.8. It is the best offer book, and currently Dwayne Zapane is in the lead at 50.
It's a great book, man.
So, all right. So John Spilios, let's see, Adventure Man. Okay, so John.
Yeah, John, Adventure Man is great. We talked about it maybe slightly before you got in here tonight. I love Adventure Man. Adventure Man is probably one of my top 5 non-Dynamite comics.
All right, so John Spilios is currently in the lead for Adventure Man at 25. And then let's see. And then we had the Red Sonja Amanda Connor statue bronze variant, suggested retail of $149.99. And Lars Man is currently in the lead at $75. And I think that closes out the recap that John loves so much. All right, so
see the light going out of people's eyes and the will to live when you read those things.
All right, you know what? Let's do. Oh, here we go. Here's another one. Absolute Carnage, number 5. Variant signed by Greg Land.
I was just looking at this when we stepped out for the break.
Suggested retail of $69.99. We have one available tonight, signed in silver for $19.92. And it is limited edition, 5 of 20. Stevie B says, I'm surprised that with all the animal stories on National Pet Day, you're not offering up more animal-themed comics where the stray dogs.
He didn't even like the squirrel. He's not going to go find stray dogs. You could have found Squirrel Girl.
You know what? I didn't realize it was even National Pet Day until, I guess all right. Lars Man's going to claim the Absolute Carnage. Hold on, buddy.
Yeah, this is a very cool
All right,
book,
gotcha,
man.
Lars Man. I didn't even think of the fact that it was National Pet Day. I guess I saw it on Facebook early this morning, but until John mentioned it.
Well, yeah, but we do this in advance. It's not like we joke about it, but it's not like you did this 10 minutes before the show.
Yeah, but dude, National Pet Day, it's not like it's Christmas or, the release of Doctor Strange or something.
Yeah, but you guys
National
did
Pet
theme
Day.
a whole, you themed a
Was
whole
it just
Star Trek
National
episode.
Dog Day? They got a day for everything now.
Yesterday was National Siblings Day, I think. So.
Yeah, because every twin I know posted the Wonder Twins gif. I was like, yeah, I know. It's their day. They wait for it.
So now Robbie had an interesting conversation on his show on Friday. So Robbie, the topic was, who is the best 5 comic book writers?
Yeah, who are the greatest comic book writers?
Oh man, we got Ronald 55 on that what if.
All right, let me get you down here. What if Ron?
Man, see again, this is so tough. I mean, how far do you want to go back?
Gotcha, Ron. Well, you left it pretty open.
Are you doing creators, guys that created characters?
Just people that write comics. That's it. That's the only criteria.
John's trying to hedge his bets again.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying it when you need criteria, having judged a ton of food competitions, and Kyle probably knows this too, you have to have some kind of criteria, whether it be from the organizer or in Kyle's case, usually it's like the Kansas City Barbecue Society.
On Robbie's show, there are no parameters.
Yeah, you can come in on a top 5 with 30 movies sometimes, or 30 names of artists, right? So, but me and Rex did our 5. You had like Peter David, Chris Claremont, of course, and personal favorites get wrapped up in there. Most of mine was based on that, but also the impact on the industry. Mine was like Alan Moore, Grant Morrison. We both had Neil Gaiman on the list. We both had Frank Miller.
John's an old guy.
John's an old guy.
He's rigid, in his ways. So he needs parameters.
We're going to start having to give him a specific month and year. The top 5 writers of this month and year.
Next show, I'm going to have little cards with numbers on them, so John can just hold them up. That's a 5. That's a 2. So you can have your parameters. We'll make it like a food judging show.
Well, I mean, if I'm going to just super personalize it to myself,
not like you normally do.
No, but I mean, in a conversation, my favorite comic book writer is probably going to be the creator of the Green Hornet. People think it's George Trendle, but it's Fran Stryker. And then my second favorite character is the Rocketeer, so that would be Dave Stevens, who incidentally is also probably on that very short list of writer artists. Mm-hmm. People call it a John Byrne list, but it should really be a Dave Stevens list. Or maybe a Will Eisner list to be.
Yeah, we could go far back to Will Eisner, right?
Or, if we wanted to, we'd do like a Chester Gould list. I mean, this is a guy that drew. Seriously, this is a guy that wrote and drew a strip for decades without a break.
Absolutely. All those comic strips in particular, too. I mean, Schultz and who's Watterson? Is that the Calvin and Hobbes guy? And
yes,
the Popeye dude. Like, oh man, can you imagine the amount of work they put in? But the cartoonists back in those days, they made bank off of that stuff. Of course, it's not the same anymore. Newspapers don't really exist for many people anymore, right?
No. I mean, it's another thing that technology completely changed. Lars Man says Sergio Aragones.
There you go.
That's
Simmons probably on that list
there.
too, right?
Yeah.
Love his
Wayne's
work.
paying Jim Davis.
Gru is awesome.
But all right, so let's see.
Neither of us put Mariano on that list, so the next time we
I
ask
did.
him to, you put him on your list, the top 5 writers. And as we said, that was the last appearance of Mariano DC's.
I didn't, but I was gonna lie.
And for me, yeah.
But then I realized the show's on Robbie's YouTube channel, so he'll be able to look it up.
Tom Snigowski is on that list for me. He's written Vampirella, a character I've read for 40 plus years. He's written for 31 of those years. I mean, other people, of course, have done Vampirella, but if you look at, and maybe this is an unkind way to say it, but if you look at who's done most of the heavy lifting, who's done most of the work, it's probably Tom Snigowski. So there's no way I can't not put someone like that. If I'm going to do a list and it's personal to me, it's going to be the.
All right, so let's do a Dynamite book since we're kind of talking about John's favorites. The Invincible Red Sonja #1, Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor dual signed Atlas edition. Suggested retail of $75, and we have one available as a 5-star book at $50.
I mentioned it earlier. The sort of named Sonja books. Mm-hmm. They always seem to, and we have tons of titles, Red Sonja, whatever. But when you get to Immortal Red Sonja, Invincible Red Sonja, Sonja the She-Devil, there's always just a little sort of, they just kind of amp it up. The art style is amped up. The story is juiced up. This was so cool. I think this might have started as like a Kickstarter thing or something where they signed the book. Or the Atlas version was or something.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
It's a couple of years ago, so I think this was like 2020.
So for all the viewers out there, let us know who your favorite writer is. We'd be interested to hear. As always, we run out of time on Robbie's show. He brings up these topics and we blow through those 30 minutes.
Well, of course we blow through them because you spent like 5 minutes doing your Tom Brady conspiracy theory bit, man.
Hey, people like John Billy don't care.
Then you did it again tonight.
Of course.
I
want to know if anybody else
has a gift or something to give away too, like a prize bonus thing you have to do.
We always do, but we do that usually after the final break.
Is it the tinfoil hat you wear when you do the Tom Brady stuff?
Maybe. Okay. I've had sort of a headache today.
It's a tinfoil baseball cap because
first of all, it's not tinfoil; it's aluminum foil. Okay, you can't get tinfoil anymore, so get it right.
Well, you're not going to get the same protection from aluminum foil.
John, I did. I read.
That's what the lead hat is for, man. Come on, get with it, guys.
John, I mentioned this a little bit. I think I mentioned this maybe it was last Wednesday. I did read Fractured State. Literally, I walked in the store, said hello to Amy, kind of nodded at Rex, sat down and read Fractured State.
Didn't bring me a sandwich, pizza, nothing.
It was nothing.
Nothing.
I've been hoping for something like Fractured State for a long time. One of my favorite things Dynamite did was a few books called Altered States, which is sort of almost like scratching at the beginning of the multiverse. You had these alternate universe versions of characters that Dynamite had been doing at the time, like Vampirella. I'd always hoped they would get back to that either in some way, or I'd hope they do an Altered States Project Superheroes. And I sort of got my wish 5-6 years later in the form of Fractured States. This is a very, very, very cool book. I tell everyone, if you want to know, if you're tired of Justice League, if you're tired of Avengers, if you're looking for a different team dynamic book, if you're X-Men'd out, go find Project Superpowers. The omnibuses are out there, and the back issues, people are finding back issues, and at least some of the back issues are in dollar bins. Not the Alex Ross covers, but you know what I mean? It's a great read. And this is like the newest sort of iteration of this.
Well, I would say John Spilios agrees with you there.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I had never, we were talking about this last week. I had never read any of the Project Superpower stuff. And so I just read that one issue and rather enjoyed that story, knowing nothing about these characters or anything.
Right. Just going in cold.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it. So
it's a real life time stretch, right? Because no spoilers here, but Project Superpowers are basically characters from the Golden Age. And then the original sort of Project Superpowers is the Golden Age and the Modern Age. And now Fractured States is pushing them into a future age.
Right.
This is like, I think, 50 or 55 years in the future. And it's kind of neat to see will be neat to see how characters will change from essentially, we're looking at 125 or 130 year stretch. I mean, these are characters that fought in the Second World War.
Right. All right, so let's see what else we got here. You know what? Let's do another CCA. So we have Secret Wars #1, signed and sketch art of Reed Richards by Ken Hazen.
Somebody wake up Ron.
Suggested retail of $89.99. We have this available for $50. Buy it now.
See, his hair's a little bit stretchy up there too. You see that?
I know, right? Yeah, that's an interesting thing. How come we never see that in the comics?
Yeah,
his hair is stretching out.
I remember there's this Alan Davis issue one time where he changes his features, right? Like he makes himself look like somebody else, gives himself a big nose and a long chin, and then Sue makes her hair go invisible so she looks bald, and so like nobody knows who they are. And I'm like, nobody ever does stuff like that.
Yeah, why do I kind of remember that? I do remember that.
That would have been Fantastic Four, Volume 3, #1, Scott Lobdell, Alan Davis, Mark Farmer, 1998, towards the end of that year, if I remember correctly.
So Josh Wentz says that's my neck after sitting at the computer all day.
Fantastic Four is one of those things that are really difficult to do because let's be honest, they're based on Challengers of the Unknown, with Jack Kirby created in the 50s, right? So he kind of dusts off the concept 7, 8, 9 years later, and they do the Fantastic Four. But essentially, this is like an atomic age story, family, whatever, mom, dad, kid, best friend, whatever. We've seen a million sci-fi movies on Saturday morning. That's the same dynamic. It is extremely difficult. And John Byrne said it. Walt Simonson said it at a con in Chicago a few years ago. When you push them out of that, when you try to modernize them, Byrne said one of the toughest things he ever had to do was try to bring the Fantastic Four from the 50s to the 80s.
Right.
And certain characters, it's not a problem. You tell the Spider-Man story, when Peter Parker or whoever gets bit by the spider, that story always works.
Yeah, that's true.
When you have to take characters that are rooted essentially in a time period, it's in their DNA, it is very, very difficult. And I think we've seen it. We've seen different versions of the Fantastic Four, and it doesn't go over too well or too long.
Right.
Yeah, sure, you can do Ghost Rider, Wolverine, Spider-Man, you know what I mean? You can do it for like a few issues or whatever, but the Fantastic Four fans essentially want that story. That's why the movies were, not quite. The movies
they've tried it enough times.
They've tried it enough times. They're going to try it again.
That's why I always thought that the best approach for them to go with would be set it in 1961.
Yes.
And have them like get lost in the negative zone. And then if you want to have it modern day, you pull a Captain America, have them pop up. It's been like 18 months for them and 50 years for everybody.
I think that exactly, because the negative zone is poorly defined. I think one of the best things they do is they have Reed Richards win the Nobel Prize for discovering.
Kind of like Superman's Phantom Zone.
Yeah, right. So I think there's a story to be told there. And I think we haven't seen, they've kind of hit all the eras, right? Between DC and Marvel, they've hit World War I, they've hit World War II. They've sort of hit the eras. Nobody's kind of hit that Mad Men era of the 1960s. I agree with that, if you set, like Robbie said, if you set the Fantastic Four, Marcus brings up the quantum realm. They've sort of brought that into the whole, the quantum realm. Time travels differently or whatever. You get the
multiverse going on.
Get the multiverse. I think there's no reason why you can't have a 1960s. I guess they use the term nuclear family. There's no reason why you can't have the right actors, the right haircuts. I'll tell you right now, John Cena in a Vitalis 1960 haircut is Ben Grimm. That's a done deal. That works. That absolutely works.
So Dwayne Zapane asks, how would you introduce Doom in that scenario?
Same way they introduced him in the comics. He's a mad scientist and sorcerer who is slowly taking control over a Eastern European country, right?
I would say there's very little that has to change there.
But they always are like, well, let's make him a corporate guy. I'm like, no, that's not Doom. Like,
I realized in the 80s, everything was corporate. It was all Wall Street and Boiler Room. I get the fascination, Wall Street, but Doom works best exactly as you see it. Maybe you change the armor a little bit or something like that, because the armor, for me, the weak point of Doom was always the armor. The armor, they made him look like a suit of armor. And I'm like, hold on a second. This guy's as smart as Reed Richards, so his armor would look at least as good as Tony Stark's. At least as good. I think that
it probably does, John. He just wears that little like skirt and dress or whatever it is. I love it. I love it though, because the hood and the faceplate makes him look like the visage of death, right? He's like the Grim Reaper almost in a way, and a direct influence on Darth Vader from what I've heard, like from George Lucas.
Yeah, George Lucas mentioned that a long time ago that there's a bunch of things with the hood or whatever that influenced him, and one of them was Doctor Doom. You got the hood, you've got the mask. Like Robbie said, it's sort of like, the face of the Reaper, kind of. You know what I mean? I would not change anything. I wouldn't change Doom. I mean, little tinkering, but essentially I leave Doom alone. Not to mention, when you do the Fantastic Four, really all you have to do is bring the Fantastic Four first and see how it works. And if it's received by the audience, then you have more time to figure out how in their own movie they're going to face Dr. Doom.
All right, Dwayne Zapane has an interesting comment. Rumor is Latveria is in Moon Knight.
I've heard that too. I'm kind of waiting.
They think that's the village, right? Like the village that Harrow's at. And then I even heard one crazy theory that Harrow is Dr. Doom in disguise. And I'm like, well, that would be a terrible approach to Dr. Doom, like a cult leader.
That would not be great.
No.
And again, Latveria and Dr. Doom, it's all very much in that mid-20th century postage stamp kingdoms that people weren't even sure if countries. I mean, I saw a poll that I think 50% of the respondents didn't think Liechtenstein was a real country in the 1960s. They literally thought it was like a fairy tale kingdom. And they were like, no, real country, real people.
You might get the same answer if you polled them today. I had to break it to you.
It's just Hollywood sold us on that European idea that they were all like those Universal monster movies. Like they just take place in like some generic version of Europe that's this fantasy world in Americans' heads.
But Chitty Chitty Bang Bang can take place in Bulgaria.
But here's the thing. It's more plausible today than it may have been 30, 40, even 50 years ago. Because, I hate to break this to you, but think about this. I remember I was around when Yugoslavia made cars.
Yes, the Yugo.
The Yugo. The crapola Yugo.
Immediately people said Yugo no place in that thing.
Right? It's better than Fiat. Fix it all the time. So that's a car made in a country that no longer exists. And I got to tell you, kids these days, I'm very unimpressed with their knowledge of geography. Very unimpressed.
I remember being in school. And being like, where you would be in geography and you'd have to like label all the countries. And then like from one year to the next, all of a sudden, Eastern Europe was way different. And I was like, wait, what? There's like, what's going on
here? There's no West Germany anymore. You're like, wait a minute, what? I just learned what West Germany is. We got bad news.
Wait. I swear this is Czechoslovakia. Like, what's going on here?
So,
but if you get the right creators for a Fantastic Four movie, or even if for a movie that the Fantastic Four appear in, I think that works. That absolutely works. There was a period of time where I really wanted to see. There's a great meme with John Krasinski dressed like Don Draper from Mad Men. And I'm like, well, there's Reed Richards. Literally, that's him right there.
I would agree with that.
And I think Krasinski was interested. They wanted his wife to be Sue Storm. She was like, thanks, I'm good. So they'd have to find a different Sue Storm. I would suggest if they're going to try to be serious about the Fantastic Four, they absolutely should try to cast an actress that has that Doris Day look, because Kirby has said a million times that Doris Day was the inspiration for Sue Storm, right? So if you're going to do that, of course, you can do any sort of, gender bending. You can do whatever you want to. But if they're going to try to make it look like from the 60s, here's a chance where they can play off a lack of inclusion, diversity. Well, it's the 60s. So, of course, it's just,
I just hope they get it right this time, though. To be honest with you,
they had different swings at it, and they don't.
I know it goes.
The one guy did so badly, he doesn't make movies anymore.
Who?
I can't think of his name now, but he did one of the best small budget movies I'd seen where I can't remember the name of it now. Oh, you're right, Dwayne. Jennifer Lawrence is perfect in that role, by the way. She's perfect as Sue Storm. I can't think of the name of it now. Chronicle. I think the guy did a movie called Chronicle where a meteor hits and high school friends find it and they gain superpowers.
Josh
and
Trank.
they turn on each other.
Josh Trank did Chronicle.
Yeah. So they
that guy did the Fantastic Four movie.
And he basically was so traumatized by the wave of hate. The guy took like an extended period of time off. He wasn't returning calls. I mean, is that guy's name attached to any ongoing project since he did Fantastic Four?
No, they were saying that he was like wrecking like his trailer and throwing fits and all that kind of stuff. And basically the studio came in and just did a complete, like Avengers came out and he was trying to do like this hard sci-fi body horror type thing. And you can see when you watch that movie, it's pretty decent at first. And then it just switches into like something weird and different. And that was because the studio just came in, finished the movie, added in an Avengers-esque third act. But the original script for that movie involved Galactus and Mole Man, and Doom was in Latveria, and he was trying to bring the Surfer, and he gets his powers from the Galactus. I don't know. There's some interesting things, but it just went off. That's just sometimes success isn't good for some people. And I think that's what happened to Josh Trank. I don't know.
I've never had success, so I don't know how I would handle it, but I'm just saying that, success at that level. I can make a sandwich, but you know what I mean? I don't know if we're making a movie, like $100 million property, but it's kind of obvious that things did not work out. That guy did a small movie. He was the hero of film festivals like TIFF and Buff. Everybody loved the guy. He was a toast to Chicago. I cannot remember the name of the acronym for their movie when they did Chronicle. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, he's doing Fantastic Four. He's nailed it. And then the movie comes out. And we get the thing sitting on the floor complaining about not being able to go to the bathroom and blah, blah, blah. And people are like, oh, no.
It's like, and you'll know where in town I'm talking about. Right on Route 38 where the Morristown Mall is. Mm-hmm. Remember there used to be a ground round and all these things at that one corner? Mm-hmm. Whatever you put in that corner, for whatever reason, just never worked.
It never works.
It never worked. And it just, everything else in the same corner would be successful, like PJs and all that stuff. But that one corner, if you put whatever, and especially a restaurant, just didn't work. It was just dead. No particular reason why. I can't think of a reason why.
There are places like that in the restaurant business, but there are places, because it's real notable, but there's places like that. There's not enough foot traffic. It's not right. The zoning isn't right. There are places I come from. Originally grew up down the shore. There are places where every year it was something different because they just couldn't make a go of it.
Yeah,
they were in and out.
And it just feels like the FF movie is like that. All right, yes. Ron, you're at $80
do we have any
on
more CCAs?
We do. We have one left.
Ooh, hold on. Ron, another CCA coming.
Let me get Ron in here, though. All right, Ron, you are at 80. Gotcha, buddy. All right, so the last CCA. All right, so just remind everybody, we have the Secret Wars #1, signed and sketch art of Reed Richards by Ken Hazer. Suggested retail of $89.99. It is. We have one available for $50, so that is still available. And then we have Origin 2 #1 blank variant edition, signed with cover sketch art of Wolverine by Jay Lee. This is a real nice piece.
Wow.
Yeah.
We had a suggested retail originally of $299, and we have one available tonight for $150.
Oh, wow. Original Jay Lee. Oh, my goodness. That's fantastic.
And you know what? We actually have to go to our last and final break, so we're going to do that. And we will be back, and we will do the drawing with Robbie when we get back.
This is The Experience.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hey there. Hi there. Hello there. You're as welcome as can be.
Hi, I'm Nancy McCann. Welcome to Friday Night Live on The Experience.
Welcome, everybody. It's Fat Jack's Comic Crib. Brendan, Al, Jason, hanging out.
There I am. Welcome back to Kicking It with Henry, folks. I am your host, Henry Kumpa. It's great to be here with you guys.
So we are going to talk about books that are in stores this week.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Mishmash.
Hello, and welcome to the Black Comics Universe, presented by Peep Game Comics.
And you gotta love it that the first people in the minute to skim it are creators.
Up, everybody! Welcome to another Wednesday Warriors. My name is Joey Galvez, and this is my pal Ambrosia.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to Space Cadet.
Hey!
What's up?
Welcome, everyone, for another episode of I Must Ask You a Question.
Hi, everybody, welcome to Nerd News Now.
Hey, this is Rex. Welcome to Comic Collectables.
Hey, hello, all you happy people. Welcome to the Dan Wickline Show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. This is the crazy show that we do on Thursdays called What's in the Box? What's in the Box?
Comic culture and sales. Imagine being at a convention and going to an interview panel that's just for you. No bustling crowds, no hours-long lines, just you, the moderator, and your favorite comic book creators. Well, this is pretty much that. Miss Jen sits down every week with 2 comic book creators for a live stream interview about their latest work, and you can ask them whatever you want. It's Talking Shop, Mondays at 5 Eastern on The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales.
There's action going on. Well, we're not even
John,
in the
who's
room.
retired, decided he's going to join the chat when he could have just waited like 10 seconds and
The
congratulated
book has
John.
already been purchased. I'm already a minute late.
So, John, I got you down, buddy, for the Jay Lee sketch.
That's
That's fantastic. Holy cow.
That's a great pickup, John. So Raven Joe says, I don't think people get their hopes up on Fantastic Four movies, so the producers don't try hard. It has to be more difficult making a team movie, but the FF shouldn't be that hard. I would agree.
I agree. I think the bar has really been. I think when they first were talked about doing a Fantastic Four movie, I think the bar with comics people were pretty high. I think subsequent failures have sort of brought it down here, where now people are just kind of looking for decent cast, coherent story, some inclusion to see where they fit somewhere in the Marvel universe. I think Robbie mentioned it. A few other people have mentioned it. Different Facebook comic groups I belong to. The Fantastic Four shouldn't be alongside the current Marvel universe. It should be in the past. And yes, some sort of, we entered the negative zone and we came out in a different place, and now all of a sudden it's 2025.
Right.
And we somehow misplaced 60 years of our lives.
Yeah.
I think there's a very writable story in there. And to be honest with you, it could be done more on the first appearance can be done more on the reasonable side.
Right.
It's their first movie or their second movie where you really need to see Reed Richards' lab.
So we're Rubenstein. Thanks for joining us, buddy. So Marcus says the Spider-Man No Way Home director is doing.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, I just hope it's not like that restaurant in a bad spot that just can't make it work.
Can you click down just a little bit? I can't see who's saying that.
Which one? Hold on. Let's see.
Where it says the premise of their creation?
That is.
It's either Kyle or Jay. I don't know. Okay.
That's me.
Yeah. The truth of the matter is, I think at this point, you have to skip the space thing, and you have to say they got their powers because they didn't have proper shielding from the weird radiation of the negative zone.
Well,
that's what I think. Yeah,
we all get blasted by space radiation every day. It's how you get skin cancer. Like, we're quote unquote fine.
Yeah, well,
we don't
Peter,
turn into the
Peter
thing.
Parker got bit by a genetically altered spider. We believe that. So
Hey, we mess with genetics all the time, man. It's how we get like grape flavored cantaloupe or whatever. So
So Jay Burns says, would Doom be with the FF at that time or in the future?
See, what I would do is I would have Doom
connect him
in the past as a young man, and then I would have him be reintroduced again 60 years later.
No, I would have him get trapped in the negative zone or whatever with the 4. That's what I would do.
That would work too. The point is there's a story to be told. I mean, everybody can kind of tinker with it, but the stories they've told so far clearly haven't worked.
I think the way to do it is to ignore the creation of the team altogether. They just are. And start with something like Future Foundation, or start with the introduction of the
I don't know if
Silver
that's
Surfer
going to
again.
work. I think
like
there's
that
too many people like me that are going to now.
And then what you do is you tell those stories in momentary flashbacks throughout the movie, right? Instead of, hey, we're this team and this is what happens and this is how we become the thing. It's we already exist and we can remember what caused it, but we don't have to spend much time on it.
Well, I say this with love. Stick to barbecue. That's not going to work.
Well, I mean, I honestly think Marvel should stop making movies for the most part for a minute. So,
Saints and that cut his mic. Jay, just take him out from the chair, man. I don't. Sometimes we have to take control. I know he doesn't.
Multiverse of Madness, take a break for like 4 months.
There's probably, all jokes aside, I mean, we're just kind of having fun here, but there's probably something to that. It's okay at some point for Marvel to pump the brakes.
Yeah, but if stuff is making money, they won't.
Yeah, but see, if I'm happy, that means everyone else is being... The story of my life is I always like more of everything than everyone else. So that means it's too much. You're ramming it down people's throats. I'm fine with that. But most people are like, give me a break. And I think that's exactly what Kyle's talking about. Like, hey, give us like a little time to metabolize what you've done, appreciate it, and then look forward to the new stuff. People are getting a matter of weeks in some cases.
Let me pay off my credit card debt from renting the movie theaters to see all these stupid movies.
That was great.
Like, the thing about Star Wars that was great is we waited a year, right, between the last 3 Star Wars movies.
Yes.
And we waited a decade between the 3 before that, and we waited longer than that before that. So give it some time to breathe and let the anticipation build up. Like Multiverse of Madness happens, either the multiverse expands or contracts from there, and then give it a minute to breathe, reset your world, and go forward.
So, all right. So we're going to do the drawing in a second, but Lars Man brings up an interesting point. I think axing Black Widow 2 is a sign of that, or were the sales that bad? I don't think the sales were that bad. I enjoyed the movie personally.
It was a pandemic release.
Yeah,
so
it was a pandemic release. But to be quite honest, I think it's retaliation, against Scarlett Johansson. Don't you?
Well, I think they also just told the story. I don't know how much more story there is to tell there, personally, but
I would have gone to see part 2. I found it engaging enough with the characters.
Would it have like Yelena, or would they? You know what I'm saying? Like
I would think so. She shows up. She shows up in Hawkeye. So
yeah, okay, but like I'm saying, because if you want Natasha, what are they going to do? Because she literally is about to die just a few months after the end of that movie. So like, do you go back in time for the sequel? It'd be weird.
You could pick up where the movie sort of left off. I mean, yeah. So Lars Man's with me. Yeah, I would have watched another one. It was engaging enough of a movie. The character mix was good. We like the character. We've been following the character. So really, I don't see. Let's call it what it is. Large corporations are motivated by the quarter. Okay, so every corporation has jammed stuff down our throats until everybody's kind of reacted with their feet, meaning that guess what? You know what? I'm not buying this or watching this or whatever.
I think Ron has he's tapped into something which I've seen a few comic creators mention about using the Fantastic Four or Doctor Doom sort of as like the backdrop of after the Age of Ultron.
Right.
You know what I mean? You kind of have this post-snap world or whatever. And I think that's sort of like Doom's rise to prominence can very much be in a world where first half the people are gone. Now the world is overwhelmed with people. And I think that would be a nice space for Doom to sort of operate in. I mean,
I really like Ron's idea there. And then I would add in the idea that the breach into the negative zone, which is somehow Reed's fault, just like the not having enough shielding in the original issue.
Yeah.
Not only is the result of, them getting the powers, but Doom's face getting messed up, right? And so then you have that
the
added
panel blows up in his face or something.
Right, right.
The scarred face isn't that difficult to do.
So
to explain into the
Dwayne's a pain. Elon Musk for Doom. I like that one. Lars Man.
Dr. Doom
no
now.
problem. Have a safe travels to San Diego, my friend.
I wish I was going to San Diego.
I know you do.
Just sit at the Dynamite panel like I should be.
All right, so with a couple minutes left, 7:41, 7:55, we're going to put up the end line. What?
We have more books.
Well, I want to recap the best offer.
Well, we got the contest too, right? We want to do that real
we're going
quick?
to do the contest right after this.
Okay.
So just the best offer books real quick. Invincible Iron Man, number 600, signed by Brian Michael Bendis. Best offer book still available at 15 for best offer. Adventure Man, number 1, John Spilios is in the lead at 25. Let's see. X-Men, Curse of the Mutants, Blade number 1. Ron, best offer book, Ron is currently in the lead at 25. Then we had X-Men number 1 signed with Watcher color art sketch by Ken Hazer. And currently Ron is in the lead at 80. And then we had the What If Miles Morales number 1, CGC graded 9.8, and Ron is currently in the lead at 55. And then we had the Red Sonja Amanda Connor statue bronze variant. Lars Man is in the lead at 75. So Lars Man will make an offer of 15. Gotcha, Lars Man, on the Iron Man. All righty. I got you down. All right. It shouldn't be that hard. Somebody said that earlier to make, maybe it was Josh went, to make the FF movie. There's definitely enough interest in it. It just, and somebody else mentioned the John Byrne era of his work on FF. And that defined it for me. I mean, that was probably the single period of time where I religiously bought the FF,
John Byrne?
Yeah. I mean, I loved that. Guy could draw anything. I would follow him. I loved his work.
So Lars Man bid 15 on it.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yep, I got that. So
when I first started reading Fantastic Four in the late 80s, early 90s was when I was really getting into it. I started buying up back issues. And so that inevitably led me into the Byrne run. And I was like, wow. I thought that was the best ever until I finally got to read the Kirby stuff.
All right. So now let's get to the drawing.
Let's do it.
So tonight's prize is going to be Purgatory number 2, okay, with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle homage on the cover, but it is one of our metal books. I don't know if you can hear that. All right, very sharp. It is an aluminum alloy. This is not a foil cover. Very well received by Dynamite fans out there. So that is the prize for the night. Whoever wins. To explain the drawing, we do a drawing on our show and we do a drawing on Robbie's show. And the way we work it is that anybody that has posted something in the chats tonight, they are automatically entered for the drawing on Robbie's show on Friday evenings. And I will be there with Robbie to discuss the topic of the evening. And then anybody that posts on that show is automatically entered into the drawing for tonight's show. So everybody who's in the drawing is somebody that contributed to the chat on Robbie's show Friday night. And that's how we work it.
This Purgatory book is Ken Hazer, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle homage cover. Someone's going to really like this. Someone's going to get this prize, and they're going to be super happy. Everyone I talk to that reads Dynamite loves the metal covers. Unfortunately, there's just one more thing to annoy Nick about. When I'm like, hey, Nick, I was just literally, when we went on the last break, I went in to talk about a metal cover for Fractured States.
I'm sure he appreciated that.
Yeah, he appreciated that. But Robbie, we talked about this a little bit earlier with Robbie. If you're a little bit burned out on Avengers, Justice League, I mean, I like people to read whatever they want to read. X-Men, if you love team books, but the dynamic is sort of really worn you out a little bit, absolutely try Project Superpowers Fractured States. The omnibuses are out there. In some cases, you can find issues in the back issue bin. Chances are you might get an issue in the Dynamite Reader 10-pack. It's a different take on it. And I have to tell you, as someone who grew up reading teen books primarily, obviously I like buddy books with, Green Hornet and Kato, or I like team books. I like the dynamic and interpersonal dynamic. After a while, I was sort of like, okay, I'm worn out. The drama, this, that, whatever. As the years went by, they moved more from headline news to reality TV. There's way too much drama. And I know that Chris Claremont gets a ton of credit for introducing the real world to the X-Men. I almost found that exhausting after a while. I kind of like the fact that Project Superpowers is a comic book story told about comic book characters. I don't really care if a character thinks he or she looks fat in pants, or, they can't find the right coffee. I don't care about any of that stuff.
All right. So, Robbie, spin the wheel, buddy.
Spinning the wheel, clicking the button. And this, of course, is from the Greatest Comic Book Writers video. And it is Marcus Y.
Oh, yeah, our buddy Marcus.
Nice,
yes.
Marcus, nice.
He says, great discussion. The arrival of Moore did change the game and opened the door to all the Brits to come in. We're still feeling the effects from it. Absolutely.
All right. Congratulations, Marcus. I think he was still with us, but I don't know if he's...
just today we had Gail Simone on Twitter talking about how she thought Alan Moore was probably...
Yeah, you're still with us, Marcus. Cool.
Yes, how she thought that he was probably the greatest comic book writer of all time. And she's done quite a bit of writing herself, to be honest.
So Ron goes to Lars. If you hit the men's room at the San Diego Conference Center, mention my name and they'll give you a good seat. Oh, man.
Yikes. Congratulations, Marcus. This is really, really nice book. These metal covers, when they're when they're gone, they're gone. People are going to be scrambling around looking for them. Like, oh, remember the metal covers? Be like,
all right, so we do actually have some books to get to.
Cool.
2 slab and actually three slab books more.
Go.
All right, so no, just 2. All right, so we got Dark Knight 3, The Master Race #1, Dynamic Forces, exclusive black and white cover by Jay Lee, CGC graded 9.8. Suggested retail of $99.99, and we have one available for $69.99.
Black and white Jay Lee, man. Oof.
That is pretty cool.
That is very cool, man. I'm not even a Batman fan, and I like that.
You're a Batman hater. All right. And then next up, we have Edge of Spider-Verse, #2, facsimile edition, CGC graded, guaranteed 9.8, suggested retail of $99.99. And we have one available for $62 tonight.
See, I would think, I know right now they're all into Venom and Carnage or whatever. I think moving forward, Miles Morales, I think Gwen Stacy is where the spotlight goes. I know they want you to call her Ghost Spider, but I think Spider-Gwen is where you move that narrative next.
Right. Okay. So, all right. And then the last 3 books are all Dynamite books and Virgin covers. So we have Immortal Red Sonja #1, Virgin covers, suggested retail of $50. We have one available for $40.
It's Jay Lee. That's nice.
It is.
That's nice. It's the chainmail shirt I mentioned at the beginning of the show. Plays an integral part. People are like, "Oh, you changed your costume." Doesn't change your costume. No, that is not why they changed the costume.
All right. And then next up, we have Sheena, Queen of the Jungle #5, Lee Ricks Lee Virgin cover. Suggested retail of $50, and we have one available for $40.
This is a book that this current run continues to tap into all the great jungle adventure stories from the past. Phantom, some of the other stuff over the years. Her own book, very Jungle Girl, which is another jungle action book Dynamite does. Just very cool stuff.
All right. And then the final Virgin cover from Dynamite is Betty Page, The Alien Agenda #2. Virgin cover. Suggested retail of $50, and we have one available for $40. And I always love the Virgin covers without the trade dress. Yeah, I mean, I think
John's playing Sheena.
All right, John.
John, it's a beautiful book.
Very nice. I love the book. Sheena's actually a really cool story in there too. I love it.
Yeah.
And the artwork's great, and I'm loving it. I think it's one of my favorite Dynamite books right now.
I'm super happy. I mean, there was a time, I've read Sheena for a long time. There's a time where Sheena was very much just like what they used to call a cheesecake book. It was an excuse to put a girl in a bikini, have her fight Nazis or whatever. And sure, there's a time period for that. It comes from the comic strips. We're in that time period where it's fun to see somebody get a Nazi punched. Now the story, I don't know if the story has been told at this high level before. And I don't mean that as any disrespect to previous creators. But right now, that's the story arc. I just finished reading Sheena 5 before we went on the air. And I got to tell you, I'm very, very happy with that book.
So, all right. So we have the winner, and looks like our best offer is coming to a close. So you got 4 minutes, but keep in mind that there is a
little lag or whatever. So
yeah,
like
so
3.5 minutes.
Yeah, so don't wait to snipe because technology keeps us from being able to do it. So Josh Wentz says finally caught up with the Dynamite books.
Yeah,
this week. Most fun books on the rack. Thanks, Josh, for saying that.
I like the Tony Fleece covers too, man.
It's a ton of fun. It really is. I mean, nobody is trying to claim that these are like, the single greatest things ever produced by Dynamite or whatever. They're just a really fun read. The art is usually consistent, and the stories it's a fun read.
Well, now we're going to have Tarzan on Mars with zombies. That's awesome. And you know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's so cool.
So are you guys done with the hiatus on the movies or not yet?
No, we come back next week with Ghost World.
Okay.
Next week with Ghost World.
And what is the movie?
Ghost World.
Ghost World. Okay, gotcha. All right.
We had Tarzan and John Carter before. It was something called, I think, Lords of War. And that combination works really well. I think there's a scene in Lords of War which I really like where
how did they screw up that movie, John Carter of Mars? I mean, that had so much potential.
I like that movie. I like that movie. I think there's two things there. First of all, John Carter isn't nearly as well known as some of the other properties, so people didn't know what to expect.
Right.
And second of all, as much as I personally like the movie, that's a movie that ideally you would have had a little bit more of a character, the main character having a little bit more box office cred to bring in more people. I think Taylor Kitsch was his name.
He was Gambit, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was Gambit.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that – I think there were probably – the guy did a great job. And like I said, I love the movie. But I think from the Hollywood perspective, he was sort of there was a scene in Lords of War, if I remember correctly, which I really like, talking about Tarzan on Mars, Marzan. There's a scene where Tarzan does his yell. And, it's sort of like symbolic with controlling the apes or eating the apes. Well, there's white apes on Mars, and there's a cool scene where they're rushing, and he does the yell, and they stop. And I'm like, that's very cool. You know what I mean? It's the same thing where they had with Tarzan and Planet of the Apes. Eventually, Tarzan has to fight, and the apes, something about the vocalization of it or whatever, it's built into the character, apes respond to it. And I'm hoping that kind of continues on a little bit.
All right, so about 45 seconds by the time it gets out of my mouth left for the best offer. So if you want to get one in, you need to get it in soon.
Yeah, and Marcus and 62 Lucky Blues are right. It kind of came out in a story arc where a lot of this stuff had been seen before. Airships, monsters.
Right.
You know what I mean? Someone who, John Carter is almost like a Superman when this gets published. Now, he's kind of jumping, or it's not what it could have been.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think kind of like with John Carter, and I've said this before, I love John Carter, I love Mars. I think the bigger part of the story now, primarily with Dynamite storytelling, is Dejah Thoris.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think the contrast with Dejah Thoris, and the actress who played Dejah Thoris did a great job. The script did not give her enough.
I would agree with that as well.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the best offers have closed. So thanks to everybody who had the highest offer. You are the winner.
Congrats.
So have you thought about the topic for this Friday, Robbie, or what?
No. But I may twist it all up together, and we may do who are the greatest writers/artists, like the people that do both. That could be an interesting. Who knows? You never
I think
know.
that's sort of a little bit I think, to me, I find that fascinating because
Right.
we had a similar conversation. We were coming back from Gen Con, which is a gaming convention. A bunch of the guys I game with, read comic books with, and we got into this conversation where somebody blurted out, John Byrne was the king after Jack Kirby. It's like an old story where Byrne finds out Kirby dies from an acquaintance, and they were like, "Well, the king is dead. Long live the king!" And this person is sort of anointing John Byrne after Kirby, and I'm like, well, kind of go with that. Maybe not. I don't know. You start looking at, there's a lot of people, and we named some of them here. Now, I understand I'm a big Rocketeer fan, so Dave Stevens comes out of my mouth all the time. But people have made the argument that, well, Dave Stevens is, and it doesn't offend me. I think it's disrespectful. It doesn't offend me. People are like, in the comic book universe, Dave Stevens is a one-hit wonder. Everything else he's done is sort of kind of forgettable. Everything is the Rocketeer. I guess from a certain perspective, that's true. I have a ton of the stuff that guy's done, and I just think, Todd McFarlane, thank you. There are a lot of names. Before I just automatically hand that crown over to John Byrne, as much respect I have for him, there's a conversation that needs to be had there. Yeah. And you've got a bunch of people who are writer-artists, just creator, using the general term.
So 62 lefty, do more than 5, buddy. We can, between me and Robbie, we can't even cover 5 in the allotted time. Let alone says he has a list over 200.
I have a 30-person list already in my head for this. So.
30 minutes.
That's right. It's 30 minutes. Don't talk to me. It's his show.
30 minutes. I'll come on the show and you'll do a 4-hour show.
Oh my Lord!
Don't talk to me.
But yeah, definitely join us on Pop Culture Philosophers, Robbie's YouTube channel on Friday.
And Josh is right. There is big money in a Game of Thrones style Barcelona TV series.
I would agree with that.
More about Mars. Maybe call it like Warlord of Mars, not make it so specific to John Carter.
Yeah.
Because there are Dynamite comics where DJ Thorus becomes the Warlord of Mars.
Right. That's a good idea.
And there are other, there's a lot going on in Mars.
Yeah, that would really work. That's a good point that Josh brought up. I would watch it. Or should we trash the Morbius movie on Friday?
Oh,
I still haven't seen that, man. I don't. I'll just wait
until. I'm waiting until that comes on TV, boy.
Yeah, me too.
You can't do any more damage to that movie than it's done to itself. Trust me.
My Lord! I mean,
it is a disaster. It is a slow-moving car wreck of like 2 hours and 5 minutes or whatever it is. It is painful to watch. Somebody
had put up. It was. They hated the. Was it your show? I forget when we mentioned it that it was such a bad movie that it made the Eternals look good.
Yeah, somebody.
Oh yeah, did we see that last week?
Maybe it was. Yeah,
it makes the Eternals look good.
See you, Ron.
Mike Von Oming is another one. He did a book called, and maybe Lefty knows this. He did a book called Victories. Wrote and draw this book, and I got to tell you, that's a guy who I would love to see do more writing and drawing of his own stuff. He's known primarily for Powers with Brian Michael Bendis. I've taken the position I actually think Victories is better than Powers, which immediately makes people go, but I would say read Victories and then we'll talk.
All right. So actually, we've run out of time. I want to thank all our viewers. As always, thank you guys. You guys make the show. I want to thank Robbie for joining us this Monday. I will be on his channel for his show on Friday and for the topic of the day. And as always, thanks to my buddy John, even though he didn't bring the taco truck yet again. But we will be back on Wednesday with Alec from AR Comics. And then Nick will be back
Your comic book day. We'll have a ton to discuss.
Absolutely. And then Nick will be back on Friday night from 7 to 8 Eastern time on The Experience with original art. So again, we'll see everybody on Wednesday. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for joining us.